Hey, everybody. Welcome. So I'm here a few minutes early per usual. I just want to make sure everything is going to work super smooth for us. So take your seat and get yourself cozy. Make sure you get yourself something to drink. Now is a good time to run to the restroom. You're probably going to want to take notes. So get yourself a pen and paper so that you're able to do that. Or if you're fancy pants and do it on your computer, pull up your second screen. I know you've got one. And I'm going to get us kind of set up on the tech side of things. I'm going to get rid of our countdown timer. We've got about 10 minutes left before we get rolling. Let's get rid of that. Yep. And let's make sure that everything's functioning. Good to see you here already. I appreciate that. And all right, let me know where you are joining in from in terms of what social media are you logging in from? Are you on YouTube? Are you on the Facebook page? Are you in the Facebook group? Where are you coming in from? Let me know in the chat. I'm going to be right back as I get things set up for us. All right, I see YouTube. Hey, Georgia, it's good to see you. I appreciate you coming. What about everybody else? Which social media channel are you watching this on? I've got my email down below in case you had follow-up questions from last time. All right, so good to know it's working on YouTube. Let's close out some of these windows and let's pull up the presentation so we're ready to go. All right, welcome everybody. Good to see you here. Whew, we're getting started in just about 8 minutes. So now is the time if you need to get some drinks or a snack, if you need to get your iPad to take notes, whatever your jam happens to be, let's get you all set up and comfortable so that you can make the most out of this presentation. Georgia, thank you. Please tell me what blew your mind, because I was thinking afterwards, I'm like, I want to do a better job than that. So if something stood out to you that you can give me feedback on, I would really appreciate that. That means a lot, and I appreciate you sharing that. All right. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to get rid of this overlay for us, even though it's pretty and fancy. And how about we get the wires away from my head? That feels dangerous. Okay. That's not part of the decor. That was not intentional. Welcome. You are getting here just a little bit early. I'm so glad to see you. We have about 7 minutes until we get started, and we're going to talk about exactly how you can fill your online or in-person, local or global private pay practice. So what I'm going to be teaching you today are techniques that work for the hardest to fill, like the hardest to advertise, right? Oh, cool. Great. Thank you for that feedback, Georgia. I appreciate it. I'm going to show it up here. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So it's going to work for the hardest to market to groups, which means it's going to work to all the rest. So it is harder to market to an online practice than an in-person practice, simply because of how we reach out to folks. We're used to using Google for find me a therapist in Raleigh, right? But if people need to find a therapist who are in a different city than you are in, it doesn't usually occur to them to say, find a therapist in North Carolina. That's not where people's minds are yet. So learning how to market to folks that are outside of your area is a harder thing to do. That's okay, because I'm going to teach you how to do it today. And that will also work for your local folks. So I hope that that will be helpful. And then the other piece is in-person practices are easier to market to simply because they are in our local area. So the same reason that it's easier to fill a practice because of online search tools, same with networking, right? We're used to networking with somebody who's down the street from us. So it can be a little bit harder to figure out how to network across bigger areas and who the heck to network with. So we're going to cover that today too. Welcome, 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 everybody. How to build my day. Georgia, I'm so glad. That makes me so happy. All right, I'm going to share my screen for just a minute here so that everybody can come in and know that they're in the right place. Let's see if I can be fancy. It doesn't look that good. I don't like it like that. Let's do it like this. All right. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that that was helpful. My best client so far found me on Mental Health Match, and she's 250 miles away. That's right. Yes. Good, good. I am interested in how you are already getting your ideal clients, because we are going to double down on those things that we know work. One of the things you heard me talking about yesterday was doing the minimum marketing necessary to fill your practice. So we're always going to start with low-hanging fruit. And knowing already where some of your referrals are coming from means we should double down on that particular referral network. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see so many of you coming in. We are starting in just about 4 minutes, and you're going to walk away tonight knowing how to fill your private pay practice. I'm going to help you find your ideal clients, and they're going to fit for the ideal life that we worked on creating for you last night or yesterday, depending on your time zones. Okay? Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you don't mind, pop in the comments for me where you're coming in from. So I see lots of people here from YouTube, but if you're joining us from Facebook, let me know that too. Hey, welcome. I see so many of you joining in. It's so good to see you here. If you were here last night, could you just let me know that in the chat? Just say like, I was here last night, or last night, coming from Mobile, Alabama. Hey, hey, okay, somebody coming in from Facebook. So Facebook users, I'm gonna put a little, I'm gonna stop sharing this for just a second. I'm gonna grab a link for you. Right now, when you say something, it shows up on my side just as Facebook user. So if you wouldn't mind clicking on this link that I'm going to share with you, I will actually be able to see where you're joining in from, or you can follow. The first link will show me, what your name is on Facebook, and the second link will take you to YouTube if you would rather watch from there. Either way, y'all totally caught me watching the Amber Heard trial. What? I'm trying not to obsess, but it's hard. It's very difficult. All right, welcome. We got more people coming in. We've got about 2 minutes until we begin. You're going to know by the end of this presentation how to fill your private pay practice. So let me know, are you looking for a hybrid practice where you have part insurance, part private pay, or are you wanting to go for the whole kit and caboodle and all private pay? The more I know about you, the better I am able to tailor this presentation to your needs. So let me know. Hey, welcome, Maureen. Good to see you in New London, Connecticut, and in solo private practice. Awesome. And are you an insurance-based practice or a private pay practice or a hybrid of the two? Private pay all the way. I totally hear you. I totally hear you. For those of you who are already private pay, I'm super interested in what made you come tonight, because it sounds like you already have private pay clients. So I'm curious what brought you here, if you're starting to feel like maybe The summer slump is coming, and you want to make sure you know how to backfill those spots. Online only, private pay. Speaking my language. That's me. I want as much freedom and flexibility as possible. I want my overhead to be low. Jennifer, all online, all private pay, trying to expand from LA to ATL. Awesome. All right, we can definitely help you with that tonight. Sarah, private pay, but only one client, new to private practice, starting from scratch. Awesome. That is the best place to start because you don't have to undo anything. We're just starting with the end in mind right from the beginning. Love it. Is there audio you can't hear right now? Yes, there is audio. I think, let me let me type it. Let's see. Yes, there is audio. I think others are hearing me. Maybe check to see I'm not on mute. Okay. Are others hearing me? Let me know. I'm pretty sure you are. And how are you going to answer me if you can't hear me? That's not gonna work. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So good to see all of you here. We're going to get started right on time. It is 7:30 on the dot. Awesome. I can see that you hear me. That's wonderful. Thank you. And thank you for clicking the button so that I could see your name. Traylee, it's good to see you here. Fantastic. All right. Hey, Amanda, good to see you back again. I love it when you guys come from multiple days in a row. So you are here because you want to know how the heck you are going to market to private pay clients. But we got a little issue even before that, because what I heard from many of you as we talked last night was not just that you wanted to market to private pay clients, but there were some things holding you back. I want to introduce you to some people who have beat those obstacles, people who had mindset issues just like you, who didn't think that they would know how to do it just like you, who thought it was going to be too much work just like you. I want you to hear some of their stories. So this is Brittany Mills. And she says, in a step towards living my dream, yesterday was the last day that I held sessions on Saturdays. So we talked last night about boundaries and creating boundaries around your practice that support your dream life rather than interfere with it. Remember, we talked about how most people build their practice backwards. They just allow whatever kind of unfolds naturally to be the way that they live and work. And so if clients want to see them at 9 p.m., even though that's inconvenient for them, even though they can't read their kid a bedtime story, that's what they do. So we work together to make sure that you are setting up your practice in a way that supports your dream life from the get-go. And if we have to go back and change some things, because that's not how you set it up to begin with, that's okay. We'll work through that together. She says, it's pretty exciting, freeing feeling, but I imagine it will sink in even more next Saturday and in the upcoming weeks and months. This is also my last month with BetterHelp, as I'm transitioning entirely to my own fully online practice. Rebecca says, second year in, and I ended September with grossing over 100K. First year was hard, but worth it. I have more than half of my clients online, and and listen, you guys, this is important. I tell incoming clients that I travel, setting the boundary, right? So they can make the determination or informed decision if they want to meet with me online or wait till I come back. I'm working 3 days a week, travel to Florida for 3 weeks, working 2 days a week, and I'm able to enjoy my life. Totally worth it. So let me know in the chat, give me a heck yeah, if you would like to be working 3 days a week and traveling to Florida for 3 weeks. Tell me, give me a head nod, give me a heck yeah, if that's you. If you saw this on Facebook, if you would have hearted it, let me know. Let me know. While you do that, I'm going to share with you Cora's story. And I love Cora's story because it's so values driven. And I think a lot of the time, Letitia, it's good to see you. Heck yeah. A lot of the time we think that if we were to suddenly start making money, then we suddenly turn into like some evil being and all the values we've had our entire life just go away and we're not the same person anymore. But I want you to hear what Cora did when she learned how to market her practice. She says, I'm just so excited to share wins. So I started my practice June 2020. Many of you already know the backstory and things that I felt insecure about over the last year or so. Sound familiar, guys? I have also previously shared wins that involve family time that agency jobs never really let me have, including, now listen, a full summer with totaled 42 adventure days with my kids. Let me hear it. Give me a yes, please. If you would like to have more adventure days with your kids, with your pets, with your damn self, let me know. Give me a yes. Let me see it in the chat. Then she shares, but now after a year and some of my long-term goals are getting near and ahead of expected. Next week, listen, all 3 of my children will have an extracurricular activity to be in. Yes, something I've struggled to afford in the past. Can anybody here relate to that? By the end of the year, number 2, my husband can quit his second job for freaking good. Let me know if that would give you guys a little bit more flexibility and freedom, if you could free up your partner from having to work a second job. And lastly, number 3, there's a chance that we will be able to build a screened-in patio early next year. I mean, this is just exactly what I want you to understand is possible for you. We have Alicia here. She says, my practice is full and I'm home full time with my new cutesy baby. Look at that, sweeties. Just 10 months in, and revenue is up every single month. Now, notice here she says, so thankful for SBS. She's referring to, sorry about that, she's referring to my step-by-step program. And in that program, I really focused on just teaching people how to set up an online therapy practice. And I threw in a little bit of marketing, like a little bit of marketing. And those are the results that she got when we weren't even heavily focused on it. So I want you to imagine, as we're working together tonight, what could happen if we're fully focused on working to fill those private pay slots. All right, last one here that I wanted to share with you. So I really want you to know it's possible. Now, this is Gwen. Gwen is an overworker. If you're an overworker, can I please hear from you in the chat? Like, I'm not talking like high achiever. I mean, homegirl overworks, and we're working on that in coaching. So I'm saying to you that her results may not be typical, but listen to what she's doing. I currently have an 80% online and 20% in-person caseload. I'm 60% private pay, 40% private insurance. So this is a hybrid practice. And I'm on target to make just shy of 250K before overhead and taxes. So some of you yesterday, when we talked about dream income, I'm not even sure if I saw any of you post 250K, right? But I do want you to see that it's freaking possible. It is possible. Now I got some other ways for you to get there that won't involve so much work, but that's down the line. And I wanted to share my own story with you. So you guys who know me, who've been around the block for a hot minute, know that I also did not think that it was going to be possible for people to pay a full like $200 an hour. I was like, really? Nobody's going to pay that. Well, they did. And what that allowed me to do was to see 12 to 15 clients at $200 an hour. I started 150 and then I went up to 200, right? And really before that, I started at like 30, let's not lie. But once I got to 200, what that allowed me to do was to open up 3 to 5 pro bono spots every single week to work with those clients who were my dream people who could never have afforded to work with somebody who's doing just straight up private practice. So I want to mention that because I know that some of you fear that if you start making money, then you're going to get greedy. And I just want you to see that that's not how it works for therapists. That's just not who you guys are. So here's a little bit about me. Let me know if you're new to me. I'm Amber Lyda, and I help therapists to serve more, to be of service, but in strategic and thoughtful ways that mean that they can bring their best selves into therapy without sacrificing their lives outside of work. It is absolutely possible, and I hope that some of those slides showed you how. Now, there is a gap, let's acknowledge, between where those folks were that I showed you 12 to 15, Chris. I saw 12 to 15 clients at 200. Yeah, that's right. There's a gap between where those folks were that I just mentioned to you and where you are right now. And you may be thinking that's not a gap that you can traverse. But listen, there is a secret to being able to get across that gap, and I'm going to cover it tonight. But I want you to know it is not directory listings, it is not even your website, and it's sure as heck not social media posts. Okay? How many of you, and I've seen this over and over, how many of you have a website and have directory listings and are just getting flooded with private pay clients? I've yet to meet therapists who have had that happen. The only exception is if they've done mad work on SEO on their website, which I'm going to teach you about tonight. Whoops, let's go back. So in order to get across that gap, what you don't need is to do a bunch more work. You just need a strategic marketing framework. So that's what I'm going to teach you tonight. The framework that I've taught hundreds of therapists that have allowed them to have full private pay practices. And I'm going to make a promise to you that by the end of the night, you're going to know exactly what you need to do to have a fuller life and a full private pay practice. That is my promise to you. That's a big, bold promise, right? But I'm going to ask you to do a little something for me. I'm going to ask you, and you can't see there because my big old head is in the way. I'm going to ask you to stay with me until the end. I've got a little surprise for you, and I think that you're going to be happy that you did. So my question for you is, if we know that in order to live the life that you would like to live, to fund your retirement, have you guys even been doing the math on what retirement needs to be right now? It's pretty crazy to pay off your student debts. $60,000, $80,000, $200,000 worth of student loans, right? To be able to contribute to your kids' college fund or their cars. So basic life stuff. So if we know that marketing to private pay clients is the way that we need to accomplish this, right? We're not going to get there seeing insurance-based clients. We're not going to get there in a group practice where we're giving up 40% of our revenue, and we're sure as heck not going to get there in an agency job where we're getting paid. I'm not even going to say the numbers because it's too depressing. So you tell me, I put a few up here. Why is it that you have not already begun to market aggressively to fill your private pay practice? What's gotten in your way? And I really do want to hear from you. So please, please put it in the chat. The more I know, the more I can help. Let me see what's gotten in your way so far. What have been the obstacles that have prevented you from already marketing your little booty off so that you can, you guys are so funny, so that you can fill a private pay practice, okay? All right, so Misty says, well, I'm new to the area. I don't have any contacts here. Jennifer says, I have no idea how to find them. Okay. Ooh, Melissa got 3 private pay clients today. Hey, high five. Okay. What else? What's getting in your way so far? If it were easy, you'd already be doing it. Finding a place to practice. Tell me what you mean by that. Mariana says, I don't know how. I love what Rainey says. I don't know what I don't know, right? Ooh, Maureen. Ooh, I love it. I love it. I think it's very time consuming in my demographic, and I'm not sure how to do it. Yeah. So tonight, I'm going to show you how it doesn't have to be time consuming. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Okay? All right. Any other obstacles that are getting in the way? Yeah. Elizabeth says the day job I needed to convince the mortgage broker I could buy a home and afford health insurance. You know what? If you are consistently making enough money in your private practice and you can show that in your paperwork, that's going to get you the mortgage. But it's difficult to show that in an insurance-based practice, and it's difficult to it's near impossible to do if you're earning the sort of money that most of us earn when we're in agency work. I came from community mental health, so I get it. I get that. Let's see. Imposter syndrome. And then Salome says, well, I didn't know what else to do, but I have the skills to make it happen. I love it. I love it. All right. Great answers. Maureen says, I guess I have to bite the bullet and offer telehelp. I'm telling you, like the overhead's way lower and super dupe effective. So we can talk more about that. What I hear most of all is people fear it's going to be too time consuming. So let's talk about that for a minute. And I'm going to try not to drone on. The model that I'm going to teach you tonight, if you go hard for 12 weeks and then go sort of hard for 12 weeks after that, so God, if I'm doing the math right, that's 3 months to 6 months, you are going to see your practice start to fill. So if you knew, just hypothetically, if you could just be a possibilitarian with me for a minute, and if you knew that if I went hard after this, if I follow Amber's framework and I go hard after this for 3 to 6 months, I'm going to be getting those full fee clients in the door. And remember yesterday we talked about the difference in salary between somebody who's taking insurance versus private pay. The difference was $60 an hour, y'all. That's a crap ton of money. That's close to $57,000 a year. So if you knew you went hard at this for 3 to 6 months, would it be worth it to get that end result? Let me know. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be worth it to you or not. Sure as heck was worth it to me. Let me know. The next one that I hear a lot is, I don't know how to do it. And also, it's going to be too hard. And I'm going to tell you, part of the not knowing how puts you at risk for trying a bunch of stuff that's not going to work. And then you're thinking, I have to work harder, I have to work harder, I have to work harder, when that's not the answer at all. We just need to work strategically. So I'm going to help you to work strategically. And it's not going to be hard. It's going to be easeful. Now, I'm not saying easy, but easeful. And we're going to make sure it's authentic to you. Okay. Amanda says, yes, but I don't know the first thing about building a website. It looks like gibberish to me. All right, let's talk about that for a minute. You don't have to build the website. We can pay somebody to build that website for you. You do not have to build the website. And we can do it in a number of ways. You could pay somebody to begin the setup process for you and then record themselves doing it so that you know how to do the rest. That's one offer. You can pay somebody to build it and pay them a low amount, but pay them slowly over time for them to maintain it. And in the short run, that's cheaper. In the long run, it's more expensive. Or you can drop $1,500 and somebody will build a website for you. So any of those, but I have a confession. I didn't have a website when I started and my practice filled without one. And it's because, remember yesterday we talked about there are 3 tiers that we're looking at when we're marketing. We're doing a broad online presence, so that light sprinkling across the internet, directory listings, a tiny bit of social media, not a lot. A deep online presence, and we talked about usually that's a website. In my case, it was a YouTube channel. And that worked well for me. And I didn't put a whole lot up there. You can check it. There's not a ton of videos. But because YouTube has such high organic SEO, search engine optimization, findability, it bumped me up really, really fast. So I had a directory listing with iTherapy and I had a YouTube channel. I had no website. So you don't have to have one, okay? Oh yeah, and Letitia builds websites. So hit her up. Here, let me put her name up here. Letitia Ellis. She's in the online therapist group. She's in Step by Step. She's in all the places. So definitely connect. And she does beautiful, beautiful work. All right. So the last thing that I hear people say is, I don't want to be a crappy person. And I'm afraid that if I only market to private paid people, then I won't be accessible. So we talked about that yesterday as well, about how, in fact, you can be even more generous with your time, with your energy, and with your money when you're making more of it. When you're making more money, you have more time to give to your kids, to your family, to volunteer, to pro bono clients. When you have more money, you have more money to give to causes that matter to you, to families that need support. Lots of ways that you can share the wealth that you are earning. So I just want to remind you that just because you're making more money does not mean that you had a lobotomy and your personality changes. In fact, we even talked yesterday about how you could build a membership site and help people who couldn't afford to do therapy, but who are still in your niche with a very low cost membership site. So we got lots of workarounds, lots and lots of workarounds. All right, so let's jump into the full practice framework. We talked yesterday about ideal client. These are core pieces, and you might want to take a screenshot with your phone. Your ideal client has to be on point because it is the thing, knowing that person inside and out, knowing them as well as you would know your best friend. Your ideal client is how you're going to do everything else. And that is why we spend so much time on it in the marketing intensive. That's the paid for program that I mentioned yesterday. We have to get that really nailed down. We're going to talk a little bit more about it, but we covered it in more depth than we'll cover today last night in case you missed that. We have to write super compelling copy. The copy, remember, is going to land on our website, on our directory listings, and then I made these a lighter color because I'm not going to talk a whole lot about them now because I'm going to introduce them in just a little bit. But know that our copy ends up being the language we write and the language we speak, so in networking. So it's super duper critical to having a very effective online or in-person marketing effort to private pay clients. Now, how many of you raise your hand or nod your head or say, yes, that's me in the chat? How many of you have a directory listing and a website and yet nobody is calling you and saying, take my money? Let me know if that's you. Because there's something missing. You might be thinking, I told you, Amber, I was going to do all this work and it's not working out. Let me know. Is that you? Do you have a website? Do you have a directory listing? And your phone is not ringing. You're not getting private pay clients, or everybody is calling and they just want to use their insurance. Yep. Moi. Me. Pretty much. Yep. Yeah. Keep it coming. It's so helpful for me to see your comments and where you are in your process. So what tends to be missing is, here's your ideal client over here chilling out. Here's your website or your YouTube channel, whatever your deep online presence is. And there's all this space between these two. So we have to do something about that. We have to put things in between the space. These are breadcrumbs that take your client from where they are to where you are online so that they can sign up for your practice. And I'm going to talk about each of these. All of these are about findability. So our broad, light online presence, just a little bit of social media here and there. Remember, we're only going to make 30 posts. We're going to recycle those bad boys over and over and over. I'm going to teach you in the intensive exactly what to say, how to say it. I'm even going to teach you a program called Canva to make them pretty. But we're going to set it and forget it. We're putting them in. We're using a software that will dump them over and over and over again, and then we're not messing with it anymore. Relationships. So networking, but not networking. Easy SEO hacks. You guys do not need to hire an SEO expert. It's going to cost you a lot of money, and it's going to be way overkill for what you need, unless you have a group practice, and then that might be a different story. And content marketing. I'm going to teach you about all of these tonight. Okay, so right now you might be thinking, Amber, you said that was going to be simple, and that was kind of a lot of stuff, and I don't think I want to do it. So from my heart, I just want to remind you how different your life can look if you put in a little effort for 3 to 6 months. So kind of a lot of effort for 3 months, and then a little bit of effort for the next 3 months. Remember, we talked about the difference in income on average being $60 an hour, and some of your comments just shared that the difference for them is $100 an hour, okay? So I just want to, you know how in treatment sometimes, in a brief psychodynamic treatment, we usually talk about how in the beginning when the client comes in, they are probably a little bit ambivalent about making change. Like they want things to be different. Gosh, this is so parallel process. They want things to be different, but it feels to them like it's going to be very hard to step out of that inertia. And so part of our job as a short-term psychodynamic therapist is to actually increase their awareness of their suffering in the beginning of treatment so that that motivation maintains their effort in the first phase of treatment so that they can actually get to results. So that's what I'm trying to do for you when I show you slides like this one. I'm trying to remind you how different life can be. Keep that motivation going. And for therapists, it's often not really about the money. When I talk to therapists, it's about feeling financially safe. Like somebody mentioned in the chat just a moment ago, of like, I just need to know that I can pay for my health care, right? Or freedom and flexibility. I need to know that if I don't want to work, and I work with a lot of people around this, so they want 3 and 4 day weekends. If I don't want to work on the weekend, I don't have to. Or maybe I like to take Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off in the middle of the week, right? That we can actually build the practice of your dreams and fill it. Okay. So for therapists, it usually doesn't come down to money. It comes down to financial safety and security, comes down to more flexibility and freedom, and it comes down to wanting more time. Let me know which one is yours. Is it the financial security that's your biggest motivator? Or is it the freedom, being able to set your own schedule, being able to like do things like, we talk to our clients about doing? What is it for you? Financial, kind of like the security part? Is it the freedom and the flexibility? Or is it the time? And if it's something different, let me know. I want to know what it is. Amanda says, freedom. Talking about. Misty says, freedom. Amanda, freedom. Laura, you sound like me, being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Y'all, I love to work. Like, I really enjoy the work that I do, but I want to be able to do it when I feel like doing it and not like 8 to 5. If I feel like working at midnight, I want to be able to work at midnight and know that I don't have to get up the next morning to do my work then, because I set my own schedule, right? And I can change it over time. Freedom, 100%. All of it, Jennifer says. All of the above, Nikisha says. Let's see here. I see all three, Nadine says. I see both. Financial security. For me, we all grew up in different life circumstances, right? And if we're going to get deep for a minute, if you grew up with money might not seem so important to you. But if you didn't grow up with money, it takes on a whole different importance. Knowing that, and I'll share with you, I'm an only child and I don't have children. So I think a lot about like, okay, I'm married to a man, men's lifespan is lower, and I'm an only child without children. So the likelihood is that I'm going to be alone at the end of my life. I know this sounds depressing, but I'm going somewhere optimistic, I swear. So for me, the financial security piece is really important. I don't want to feel afraid of where I end up. I want to know that I have planned and taken care of myself so that as I'm in my older years, I'm not going through trauma because I'm landing in some disgusting place with, people who don't care about me, right? So all of us bring our own stories to the table, but it almost always comes down to those three things: financial safety, having more time, and having more freedom/flexibility, right? Melissa says, I'm sick of making the money for others. Yep, freedom and more money. Yes. So let me ask you this. How long do you have left in your working life? How many more years do you plan on working? We're going to play a little bit with math here. Let me know. Is it 5 years? Are you close to retirement? 10 years? Maureen, I'm an Amber clone. I'm your clone. Yeah. Is it 20 years? Are you going to be in it for the long haul? Is it until you can't work anymore because you don't trust that you can get ahead where you need to be? How many years do you think you'll be continuing to do therapy? Okay, I see 10 years, maybe 5 years. Realistically, the rest of my life, I can't envision retirement. Is that, Misty, because you can't envision having enough financial stability for retirement? Or because you just love it and you want to keep doing it? Nadine says 10 years. 10 years or less. 20 years, Chris says. Okay. So I want to show you something. Okay, Lisa Marie says, I love what I do and I won't retire at all. I love it. Wouldn't it be so cool? So this might just be my fantasy, that I have enough income that in my later years, I can serve whoever I want at whatever price point they can truly comfortably afford. And that's just like, it's gravy for me. I'm not relying on it. It's just gravy. Kind of like, I want to rescue pit bull puppies and elder pit bulls. I want to be able to help and have the freedom to help. So for those of you who have 10 years left to work, remember that number we talked about, that's $60 more per hour, and how it came up to around $57,600 per year? Guess how much money that is in 10 years? It's a lot. It's a lot of freaking money, okay? So when you start to feel like, I don't know if I wanna do this, I just wanna remind you, the opportunity is there to feel all the things, the financial security, the freedom, the flexibility, and the time. Okay, so let's go back here. We talked about ideal client, we talked about compelling copy, we talked about how that's gonna show up in all the places. We talked about how we have to have a path that makes sense from where our ideal client is to our website. Otherwise, you guys, it's just like putting a big sign up in the woods. Like you made this beautiful sign and then you stuck it out in the woods and you're like, why aren't any clients calling me? Well, nobody sees the dang thing. Your website just floating out there in the internet with a bajillion other websites, unless we do some work to walk your ideal client to your website. So what we are not going to do is what I did in the beginning. We are not going to do marketing that involves throwing spaghetti at the wall. We are going to have a framework and we're going to do the minimum marketing necessary. We're going to get you full. Then we're going to have a little plateau where you're like, okay, this is going. And we're going to see what's the lowest level of nudge you need to keep those referrals coming in. And then we're just maintaining. Okay. And what I find, and I can't remember where I put this, so I'll just say this here in case I forget later, is at least what happened for me and what happens for the people that I coach is once you get full, you end up staying full just by being a good therapist, because your clients are going to refer to you. And this is why it's so freaking important that we find your ideal client and that you become a magnet for them. Because when you are, and you're doing your flow work in most sessions, they're going to go out and tell the world how amazing you are. And I'm also going to talk to you about, I'm going to foreshadow here. I'm going to talk to you about how by providing amazing collaborative care that is working with your clients' other care providers, like doing the work that we're supposed to do, but none of us have time to do. By doing that, you're also going to keep your practice full. So when I say we're going to market for 3 to 6 months, and then we're not really going to do anything after that, I mean it. Once I filled my practice, and I mean filled it, once I filled it, I never marketed again. I haven't made a single YouTube video. I haven't made any social media posts, although it's on a little cycle by itself. I don't mess with it. I haven't done anything. I haven't done any networking other than keeping in touch with my care providers for my clients. That is it. Would that be nice? Would you like it? I think you would like it. All right. So there's a piece that we haven't talked about that's super important. If we're going to go get our ideal client and walk them to our website, we kind of got to know where they are. So let's talk about that a little bit. Where the heck is your ideal client? So we have to think 2 parts here. That's 4. We have to think 2 parts here. 1, where are they online? And 2, where are they in person? Now, we're not going to spend a ton of time here because this is kind of a deep lesson. We do cover it deeply in the marketing intensive, but I want to tease you a little bit with some stuff that might serve you right now. I don't know if you guys saw the post. I got to tell you this. There were 2 posts recently by people who have done this training and like literally in the last week or day saying, I just made a couple of changes based on what I learned in the webinar, and I've already started getting calls. So as you're learning, please make sure you're implementing because people are already seeing results. So bueno, and one of them already resulted in a full fee client. So do the work, y'all. Okay, so let's play a little bit. Let me see what the next slide is so I don't say what I'm gonna say. Okay, here we go. All right, online. All we're gonna do here is use your amazing skills of empathy and attunement. So let's pull to mind a client. Let's imagine that you treat people with health anxiety. I want you to think about where online and in person that health anxiety person is going to show up. So I'm going to think in person, they are likely to have like a go-to physician. So they're probably seeing their physician frequently. They probably have a slew of specialists. They probably feel like they've sort of exhausted Western medicine and they have probably started to seek out like more holistic healers or Eastern medicine, maybe acupuncture. So those three places in person is where I would spend my time. Where I would not spend time in this case is with a psychiatrist. Because almost always people who have health anxiety, at least the people I've worked with, aren't seeing a psychiatrist. They don't think they have a mental health problem. They think they have a physical health problem. So I want you to think about your ideal client and where they're likely to be in the physical world, in person. Where are they likely to spend time? Because we're going to make connections with those folks, either through our networking, which we're going to talk about in a hot minute, or through just finding them and moving them to the path to our website. And I'm explaining exactly how to do that shortly. Now let's think about online. So let's imagine the same patient, same client, and please feel free to put in the chat if you're already thinking about your person or you have questions about your person and where they might be. So online, our health anxiety person is likely to be Googling symptoms. So it would make really good sense for me to have a blog with a header one, remember from yesterday, with a header one that says something about what they would Google, that has the same title as something that they would Google. Probably they would not be spending time in a place like Pinterest, right? They'd probably be on WebMD, you know? So start thinking about where your people will show up, and then we're only going to target those places. I shared with you the story yesterday of places that I went because I was just throwing spaghetti at the wall and wasted lots of time. I don't want you wasting time. So practice a little bit. Think about, and feel free to share it in the comments, where you think your ideal client that we identified yesterday would be hanging out in person and online. Let me give you one other example real quick. Let's imagine that your ideal client is a new mom and like recently had a baby. Where the heck would she be spending her time? So she probably has a bunch of follow-up appointments with her doctor, right? She might be seeing a lactation consultant. And by doctor, I mean like OBGYN. So we're just narrowing that down a little bit. Maybe mommy and me. I don't know. Is that still a thing? I'm not a mom. I don't know. And where would she be online? She would likely, like of all the places she might be on YouTube searching for like ways to soothe baby. She might be on Pinterest. Lots of new moms are on Pinterest. So we start to learn. I have a whole section in the course to help you figure out where the heck are my ideal clients. Because there's research out there to help us figure this out. We don't just have to use empathy and attunement, although it's a great starting place. We're also going to use research that already exists to tell us where our ideal client might be. Lee says, my person might be on TikTok. I mean, aren't we all spending a little bit too much time on TikTok? Yeah, so there are some ways to get in front of people on TikTok. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite to teach because like all social media, it'll have its moment and then it will fade and then you'll spend a bunch of time learning how to use TikTok. But we could do like baby stuff on TikTok to start them to our more impressive work, which will be on our website. All right, Sarah says substance use is her niche. So her person's likely to be in doctor's offices, at AA meetings, looking for self-help options, at CODA meetings, high-pressured, fast-paced work environments. Girl, you got this. Yes. Good, good, good. Yay. All right, you guys are nailing it. Makes me so happy. So just to recap, I'm a big fan of recapping to make sure you're getting it. Who is my ideal client? Write compelling copy. Where is my ideal client? And then we're going to breadcrumb them from where they are to where we are. And we just talked about a couple of examples of that. I want to share Audrey's, Audrey's thing here. It says broad online presence for the win. So remember, that's sprinkling a little light dusting on social media. She says, I just booked a full fee client at $175 and asked why she contacted me. She stated that I had a good online presence, a nice website, and appeared in multiple directories, and she liked my short videos that helped her know what I sounded like. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. So as we talk about the paths, you guys have to see this. A teen literally asked me if I knew what TikTok was. Girl, I am not that old. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So when we think about the path, I want you to keep in mind that you don't need to do all the things on that list. The framework teaches you what can fall in each category, and then you get to pick. You don't have to do them all. So relationships can be pathways. So for example, it could be that you get in really good with a perinatal specialist, and they're the person that goes to the client and says, hey, seems like you're having some symptoms, could be depression. It might be helpful to talk to somebody. And they give them your website link. Okay, so that's one way you can cross that chasm. SEO can be a path. And we're going to talk more about that, but you guys already know a little bit about header ones, header twos, and alt text. And then breadcrumbs on the internet. We're going to talk more in depth about that as well. Okay, I just keep bringing you back to the slide to keep it really fresh for you. So, what is one new thing that you have learned about your ideal client? At least something that you would say about your ideal client that maybe you wouldn't have before yesterday. Let's see what you've got. So remember, we talked about how we don't want it to just be, my ideal client has anxiety. No. We got to get more specific than that. My ideal client has anxiety that keeps her up at night, worrying about every conversation she had during the day and if she said anything awkward or offensive. That's what we're talking about. Okay? And we need it because it helps us to write compelling copy. Okay? Copy involves the pain point, the hope point, and apparently the bridgette, which really should say bridge. The pain point, the hope point, and the bridge. And we practiced this yesterday. You learning to talk about how to identify the client's pain in their own words. So again, I wouldn't say something like, my client struggles with depression. That's super generic. I want to be really specific about what that feels like to them. And I'm going to give you, this is another one that you might want to take a screenshot of, because this is a little formula for copy. In the marketing intensive, we are going to go through a document together that will result in you having every single piece of copy you will ever need for anything all in one place, so that you can simply copy and paste it to all the places that you're going to need to do that, which remember is a lot of places. So when we look at these, we talked yesterday about the pain points. And as you're trying to work on this, and take a screenshot if you want, as you're trying to work on this, think about pain points in terms of feelings. So let's do an example together. Let's go with anxiety, because I know anxiety better than I wish that I did. So my pain point is anxiety. So I might say, I feel totally overwhelmed, and then thoughts. And I worry that it's never going to get better. Behavior. So I drink more than I should to try to calm myself down. Physical. And I notice that in my body, my shoulders are basically up to my ears. Relational. I drive my partner nuts constantly asking for reassurance to let me know that what I'm worried about, I don't need to be worried about. Patterns. I think I have it all figured out. Like I do all of the things. I do the yoga, I do the mindfulness, I do the working out, I journal. And then one small thing happens and it feels like all the progress that I made shattered and I go right back to ruminating and worrying. Okay. So we're just moving through pain points and we're trying to grab a little bit from each of these categories. And if you know that your ideal client is a feeler more than a thinker, then lean heavier into the feelings. And if they're a thinker rather than a feeler, lean heavier into that. Hope points, same thing. Okay, we want to think about how do they want to feel? I would love to feel free and at ease and content. What thoughts go with that? I would love to not be worried all the time. And you get the idea. I'm not going to go through all of it. But here's where I see most therapists really, really struggle, and it's with the bridge. We're pretty good with a little bit of prompting to talk about pain points and hope points because that's our language. We know the evocative, emotional language with just a little bit of help. But where I see people really struggle is with the bridge. And it's because we learned psychobabble as our native speak when we were in grad school. And so to ask somebody, if CBT is your bridge, I often find people unable to explain in a way that makes sense to clients and doesn't just sound like a bunch of jargon. So I want to go back here for just a sec. As you think about this page and using this as your guide for writing your copy, I want to do a little emotional check-in. I'd like to know how you're feeling right now. We've covered a good portion of the framework. I want to know how you're feeling about the framework so far. Are you feeling like our first friend, super excited? Are you feeling like our second friend, like overwhelmed and this is too much? Our third friend, who's like, I don't know, I could maybe do this. I'm curious, I'm open. Where are you? Let's do a little temperature check. Okay, Amanda says, less scared than yesterday, but still feel like I can't trust myself to do it right. Julia, I can do this. Yes. And Georgia says, the second one, the overwhelmed one. All right. Laura says, give me the steps already. I love it. I love it. A lot to think about and a lot of decisions to be made. I know I can do it. Good, Rainey, but I still feel overwhelmed. Nadine, I can do help. Yes. Awesome. So helpful to see where you guys are. So for me, sometimes like when I go to a workshop like this, I get a case of the I don't want us. I'm like, this is great. I'm down. I definitely want to do it, but I don't want to do all of it. I feel like I could do half of it. All of it feels like a little bit too much. So for those of you who stay around till the end, I have a little prize for you. I have a little treat. If you choose to join the Marketing Intensive, zero pressure. But if you choose to join the Marketing Intensive, the place that I see most people struggle, that takes most of their friggin' time, is writing the copy for the bridge. They cannot translate psychoanalytic speak to normal people speak, CBT to normal people, prolonged exposure to normal people speak. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it for you. I'm gonna create a copy vault of exactly how you can explain the bridge. You can truly copy and paste it, plug and play, done for you. Or you can add your own flair to it, whatever you want to do. So let me know. You don't have to know if you're going to purchase the Marketing Intensive, but let me know if it would be helpful for you to have a copy vault of all of the bridge language that you need for your private pay practice. Oh, I had a cute little graphic. I didn't even show it to you. Hold on. We made it. We have to show you. How cute, right? I was pretty impressed with myself. So Let me know if you think that that would be helpful to you to have it just done for you. So it's one less thing you have to worry about. Jamie says, you know the answer is yes. You betcha. Yes, very. Yes. Good. Good. There are some things that it's just easier to have it already done for you and not have to mess with it. Okay, sweet. So back to our little graph. These are the steps. Let's go back. Let's go back. We talked about networking. We're going to talk more about content. I want to talk a little bit about your website. Okay. Pain point, hope point, bridge. That's your friggin' website. Pain point, hope point, bridge. That's the big deal. One trick that I want to make sure that you know, just in case you don't join us in the intensive, obviously I'll go deeper there, but I don't want you to miss out on this. When people look at your website, they follow a very particular path with their eyes. They start in the upper right, they bounce down to the left. They go back to the right, they bounce down to the left, back to the right, down to the left. Why does this matter? Because we want their eyes to land on what is most important on that website. The most important thing on that website is the button that says schedule your free consult. If you don't do a bomb free consult, we got to work on that. We have to work on that. It is, once you attract that client to you, if you can't do that consult in a way that turns that potential client into an enthusiastic paying client, we got a problem. So that's something we have to work on together. So right here, we want that free consult button. Then their eyes are going to go over here. Awesome if it can be a picture of you. And remember, we talked about what makes a good picture on your website. And then as you move down the website, what I want you to remember, let me move my little dot over here. What I want you to remember is that most people aren't reading every single detail of the website. We're skimming. So anytime you say a powerful sentence, we want that sentence to be like, bam, we want it to show up. So we want it bold. We want it as an H1 or an H2 if it's something that Google's also gonna like. We wanna make sure that the eye is landing on the biggest points, and you fill with paragraphs in between. But if they only scanned it, would they get the general idea? So as you're doing pain points, you're literally gonna write the biggest pain points and then write a paragraph. The hope points in a big bold text, paragraph. The bridge in a like one line bold text that kind of sums it up, and then a paragraph. So it should read like a story just from the bold pieces. Okay, let's keep on moving because I know that you want a lot of material so that you can make this actionable for you. So we've talked about your website. I'm not going to talk about the directory because it's just a short version of the website. We don't need to get into the details there. But we do need to start talking about networking. So in the intensive, I teach lots of ways to network so that whatever works for you is available to you. But one of the lowest hanging fruits is the collaborative care providers. So I do want to spend a little bit of time on that with you. Let me go back here. We know that when we're providing the optimal level of care, we're making sure that we're connecting with the other people that provide care for our clients. So if I'm seeing somebody and they're struggling with depression, best practice is that I'm talking to their physician to make sure that we're ruling out biological causes of depression, like thyroid issues, right? So how many of us really have the time built into our schedule to provide that level of care? Not many of us. So what we're aiming to do is to constrict the number of hours that you're seeing clients, increase the amount of money you're getting paid per hour so that you have time for lots of things, but one of them being to collaborate more appropriately on the care of your clients. Now, what's super cool about this is just like when you do good therapy, if you do really great collaborative work, I'll give you scripts and templates for this in the course, then you're going to have people who refer to you because most people aren't doing this. So if you do it, you're already doing better than 95% of the people out there. And you can use your ROI, your release of information, as a way to facilitate referrals. And we can do that in a legal and ethical and totally clinically appropriate way. So we can talk more about that if we have more time, but I just want to like plant that seed for you that if you're thinking about where should I spend some time in terms of networking, that's the lowest hanging fruit that I've got for you. So I want you to do a really good job And all you have to do is do a good job, and it's going to make you stand out. You don't have to be like weird and salesy. You don't have to say like, please refer to me. In fact, please don't do that. Just go be a kick butt therapist. All right, now for the super duper fun part. This is my favorite. So we talked website, we talked directory sorta, we talked networking. What the heck is content marketing, Amber? And what are these breadcrumbs that you keep talking about? So I'm gonna give you a couple of examples. Content marketing is my favorite because you just get to be a good person. That's all that it is. You get to be a good person out loud and your practice gets filled. So here's an example. Let's say that your ideal client is somebody who hangs out on YouTube looking for self-help stuff. Maybe they have a lot of anxiety and they're looking up diaphragmatic breathing. You pop up a video on YouTube about diaphragmatic breathing. It doesn't have to be fancy. If you see mine, the bar is low, my friends. It does not need to be a fancy pants video. You put the video here and you help them with something. In this case, you're going to teach them diaphragmatic breathing. And then you might say at the end of the video something that's going to lead them to the next thing. You might say, I hope that this was really helpful. There are 2 other breathing techniques that are very useful with decreasing your anxiety right before bedtime. Here's a link to my blog where I describe them. So we just walk them from YouTube to our blog on our website. And then from there, now they're getting to really know, like, and trust us. Now it's an appropriate time to ask them to sign up for the free consultation. Then we get them into the free consultation. And if they're an amazing fit and you know that you can do rock star work with them, they become a client, and a client who sings your praises, and a client who keeps your practice full. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. Okay. I wanted to call your attention to something here, though. What we are not doing is we're not asking them to do anything weird. So let's say that you do a YouTube video on diaphragmatic breathing and it's a 5-minute video, 10-minute video, whatever. It's probably not the perfect time to be like, schedule your free consultation. You guys just met. Like, they weren't looking for a therapist on YouTube. They were looking for self-help. So it's kind of like picture, it's gonna sound weird, but picture dating. Like, you don't you don't ask somebody to marry you on the first date, right? That's generally not the way that you would do it. So I want you to be thinking about, like, with empathy and attunement, how is this person feeling where they are? And let me appropriately give them something to do that matches for where our relationship is. So it's appropriate after watching a YouTube video to be like, hey, come check out my blog. Might not be appropriate to be like, meet me at my office. That might be a little bit too soon. You know your ideal client. Just make sure you're keeping them in mind. Okay, here's another example. So if your client is in a physician's office related to pregnancy, what you could do is get one of those little cards. You can make them in Canva and have signs of perinatal depression. We've talked about this before. So you give them a little bit of something, something, give them a win, and then you're going to lead them to the next thing. So again, it's probably too early in the relationship to be like, book a free consultation with me. So what's probably more appropriate to say, now that you know what the signs are, if any of these match for you, just use this QR code and it'll send you to a video on my website where I teach you how to cope. And then once they watch that video, the next thing you can ask them to do is to schedule a free consult. So we're just being decent people and we're helping. I told you that you can be a good person and build a private pay practice. Okay, so we have talked math, money, mindset. Talked about keeping the end in mind by setting your salary before anything else. Then setting the hours that you want to work. Then we get to the fees. And we're going to find clients who fit and we're going to market to them. We talked about boundaries, and all of this is part of marketing, my friends. Every single piece of it. We got to set up what we want for ourselves because that's the only way we know who to market to. So again, we're starting with salary. We're starting with the end in mind about hours worked. We base our fee on this, and then we find clients who fit. But there are other pieces of boundaries that you want to think about as well. For example, if you know that you want to work late one night a week, but not any other nights of the week, that's one. If you know that you don't want to take anybody else at a sliding scale because you've already overfilled those spots, that's another. If you tend to mark time out for lunch and then backfill it with clients, that's another. I'm super curious about one of the boundaries that you might like to better hold in your practice. If you wouldn't mind sharing, I would love to know. We talked about ideal client, that you need to know them as well as your bestie. These are your steps, y'all, so pay attention. We need to understand where they are in their stage of change, so we make sure we're talking to them where they are, not past where they are. And we got to let go of the fear that if we narrow down to our ideal client, we're not going to have enough diversity in our caseload, or we're not going to get enough clients. We can always change tactics. And I'm just telling you that because I know it's going to work. So you're never going to change a tactic because it's going to work. Okay. Compelling copy, pain points, hope point, bridge. Be sure you're speaking to their stage of change. Take screenshots of these, you guys, if it'd be helpful to you. Make sure you're using all of the ways that people experience distress. Yes, Nikisha says, enforcing no-show and late cancellation fees. Yes, that is a boundary. That's what we're talking about. And then we need your website. So the places we're going to put your copy, directory, social media, content, and networking. Okay. Where are they? We got to know where they are in person, where they are online, and we have to tune our language into where they are. So, you don't want to, let me come up with a good example here. Just like we talked about, like sign up for the free consult, like that's a weird thing to say if you're just meeting somebody. We want to like put the language in where it's appropriate. And we talked about breadcrumbs from where we find them to where our deep online presence is, our website. Okay. And the ways that we get them from there to here is that we do baby SEO. So header 1, header 2, alt text, broad online presence so that we look legit to Google. And if you guys weren't here yesterday, we covered this there. Service-oriented content marketing, which I just taught you, and real relationships. And just to like double down on that one for a minute, because we didn't talk a ton about it. And just in case you don't join me in the intensive, what we are not doing is going to people and saying, hey, I have openings in my practice. Will you refer to me? If you refer to me, I'll refer to you. That's not good. That's a quid pro quo. It feels gross. It's not the way that you're going to feel great about marketing. Instead, I want you to embody your inner possibilitarian and think to yourself, my practice is going to be completely full of full fee clients very soon, 3 to 6 months. Now is the time for me to get to know other care providers who could support my clients so that I know if I want to refer to them. So go with that mindset of you are looking for people to refer to, as opposed to going looking for people to refer to you. It will naturally occur as you learn more about their practice. They'll ask questions about yours as well. The other piece is be service-oriented, even with potential referrals. So when I was talking to a psychiatrist, and he was asking me, do you treat people with substance abuse? And I was like, really, that's not my specialty. And I would want to get that person connected to somebody who specializes. But what I will do for you is anybody you want to refer my way because you don't know who to send them to, I will do a free consult with any of them. And I'll help them figure out what type of therapy they need, what type of therapist they need, and help them get connected to somebody. Being a service in that way, and he did that like 4 times. It wasn't like it took a ton of my time. I wasn't like suddenly his case manager, right? Being of service in that way meant he trusted me and we built trust over time. And then he referred to me. And we really only need a few people who refer to us to have a full private pay practice. Okay, so what we haven't talked about is closing the loop. So we covered website flow a little. We talked about calls to action, which are schedule your free consultation, or a call to action might also be like from my YouTube video, go check out my blog. It's just telling them what the next step is for them. What we haven't had time to cover is an amazing free consultation. And that is a deep lesson. That is like an 1.5 hour lesson all on its own. So I can't do that here. I can't even give you I'm trying to give you like an overview. If I were to give you like an overview, I would think about like my job is to understand this person as deeply as I possibly can in the time that we have together, to offer them a gentle and tentative conceptualization of what I see happening and check in and see if they agree, and then offer up what I think will be the next best steps, whether that's me or somebody else. And in doing so, that next best step might be me, in which case we're going to slide into talking about fit. There's so many details to doing this right that if you're noticing, so here, okay, if you're noticing that people are getting to your website, they're calling in the free consultation, but you don't have a good like conversion rate from the free consultation, if you're not having a good conversion rate, we got to talk because there's something not happening that's right there. And I do find people who have insurance-based practices, like, generally, most people I know who have an insurance-based practice aren't even doing the free consultations because they don't feel like they have to, and they're kind of trained to take whoever shows up. We're doing it really differently in a private pay practice because, yep, this is where taking the time to explain. When somebody calls you because they found you take their insurance, what they were looking for is a therapist who takes their insurance, and you do. If somebody is calling you and they're going to pay out of pocket, they're not looking for a therapist who will accept their cash. They're looking for the ideal therapist. So you have to make sure you're the ideal therapist, and you do that in the free consultation. So I would love for you to join the intensive to learn more about that. I don't have that as a separate offer at this point, and I can't see a time when that's going to happen because it would be a lot of work. So the last piece, you got to be a bad booty therapist. So just do your great work. And remember, we can't do great work with everybody, right? I'm not an amazing therapist. I'm an amazing therapist with a very particular person. So find your person, do your amazing therapy with that person, and your practice will fill. But we got to get the first people in the door. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Then the next thing that's going to happen, you'll love this one. Done a lot of work. Then we're going to coast. We're just going to coast. Have you seen the TikTok, the marshmallow? I want to be a marshmallow. That's what we get to be here. Now you get to be a marshmallow. You just get to wobble around with joy. You get to wobble around with joy. Your clients are going to refer to you. Your collaborative care providers are going to refer to you. And your website and the work that we did on copywriting and content will continue to move the needle in filling your practice. So I want to highlight something somebody just said in the chat because it's brilliant. Brilliant. Salome says, once I stop the scarcity mindset and shift to abundance, consultation becomes easier. Yes. Because when we're doing the consultation, we're not trying to coerce somebody into therapy with us. We are looking for our ideal client, just like they're looking for their ideal therapist. And what we want for them is the best therapeutic match, not to line our pockets. We want the best therapeutic match. Our wants with each other overlap. Okay, let's do a check-in because we have covered a lot of material and I want to see how you're feeling. So let me know in the chat. This is very important that I know like where you're at. Are you feeling like I got it? I'm going to walk out of here and I got my marketing nailed. Are you feeling like, never mind, I'll just take insurance? Are you feeling like I kind of got it, but I need some more help? Where are you at? Where are ya? I know there's a little bit of a delay. It's okay. Go ahead and type in your responses. And it's whatever you're feeling is okay. Safe space, safe space. Amanda's like, I kind of got it. I kind of got it. Yeah. I'm waiting for the intensive. I'm waiting with you. I can't wait. My biggest fear or obstacle is relationships, zero network where I am right now. So I don't know where to start. Ooh, Misty. Okay. I want to make sure I come back to that. Can you make sure that you ask me that again before the end? Because I got something to say on that. Okay. Nadine says, I definitely need help. Chris says, excited. I highlighted the wrong one. Here we go. Excited, want to jump forward, but not yet ready for another few months. Tell me what's getting in your way. What's gonna get you ready? I sort of got it, but I needed help. I hate wasting my time. I am with you, Rainey. Me too. Yes, I feel like I have a good start, but now wondering if I wasted money getting credentialed with several insurance companies. Maybe, maybe not. We can talk about that. I am teaching in the intensive how to move away from insurance companies. If you're interested, there's a mini course in there. But we usually do it by starting with the lowest paying insurance company. Okay. Not ready to leave my agency yet, but when I do, this way of going makes it the most sense. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. If you can learn to market, it will change your life. Once you know how to do it, and that framework that I taught you will work whether you're side hustling, it'll work if you are just doing your therapy practice, it works if you're building a coaching practice. So it's going to work in all the domains. I want to ask you, I'm clicking on the wrong place here. What might become possible for you if you're willing to learn to market? This is how my life opened up when I took the plunge and started my online practice and started to learn to market. This is one of my favorite people on the planet, my grandma. This was my 40th birthday, diving with the Goliath grouper. This guy was the size of a Volkswagen. This was this was like one of my highlight moments of my life. It was amazing. Time with my best friends, time relaxing, time spent connecting. Okay. So, would it be okay with you if I were to talk a little bit about something that I developed just for you that would allow us to continue working together with what you have begun to learn today? Let me know. Would it be okay with you if I could talk to you a little bit about what you learned today and how you could continue to do that work with me? Jacqueline says, feeling inspired, but clearly there is a lot of work to do. It's not so bad when you have a guide. It's not fun when you're trying to do it all by yourself. It can feel like I don't like feeling like I'm working really hard, but I'm not sure if it's the right work. I don't like that. That is the kind of stuff that gets on my nerves. Like, okay, I just spent a lot of time doing this. Is it going to pay off? All right. So I'm hearing, whoa, I'm hearing, yup, yes, 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 of course. Teach. Yay. Oh, I'm glad. I'm so glad. So, what I've created for you is a 12-week program where we are working together. I teach just like I do with you here. We do it live. If you want to come live, you can watch a recording if you want to watch a recording. And here's the clincher, we do the work together. We have a 2-hour period of time set aside on Thursdays, and we literally are on Zoom doing the work together so that when you start to feel stuck, I'm right there with you. And I can be like, no, 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 that's not good copy. Let's change it to this. Or if you're feeling like, I'm not sure if this is good enough, I can give you a high five and be like, yes, baby, you are on it. That is exactly the right thing to do. I have saved so much time and money by hiring coaches. I have a coach right now, and they help me immensely in saving time and money because I don't know what I don't know, right? So they can point out to me like, the way that you did this, that's not going to work. You got to do it like this. And it's a huge, huge gift. So if that feels like it might be helpful to you, I want to tell you a little bit more about it. There are a lot of pieces in here, and they are set up to be sequential. So we are going to work together on creating a better life through smart practice boundaries. We've touched on that a little bit here. We will get into the nitty gritty together in the intensive, and that is valued at $300. you're going to, and I know this part was like a sticking point, it's hard to teach ideal client in a short period of time. And some of you were like, I feel like I'm starting to know her or him or, whatever better, but I don't quite have it. So we work through that together in depth. We got to get past women with anxiety into exactly what's happening and with whom in those sessions where you feel most in flow. Because if we can't get there, none of the rest is going to work. So why is my head right in the way? That's a value of $400. So we're at about $700 collectively. The next one is copywriting for therapists. So you could take a copywriting course. I've taken many, and they're all built for different things. You're going to find a lot of what we call bro language. It's like super salesy and slimy and coercive and high pressure. And that's not how we want to come across as decent human beings or as therapists. So I'm going to teach you exactly what you need to say and how to say it. We're going to create that document I mentioned together with all the copy you are ever going to need, so that it is all in one place for you. I don't think it'll work if I do this, but I'm gonna try. Nope. Well, let's try one more time. Just for fun. Nope. All right. That's okay. So we're looking at about $12.50 in value so far. Then we're going to move into marketing through acts of kindness. And these are in a particular order on purpose. So we are going to go in order so that we make the most of our lowest hanging fruit. Again, I want you to get results and then not have to do anymore. So this order is really important. Marketing through acts of kindness is the content marketing that I taught you. So you're going to learn how to write long form content, and then how we are going to strategically sprinkle it across the internet so that you don't have to get on a hamster wheel of social media crap that none of us want to do. This is my favorite part in the entire training because it's most authentically aligned with therapists. We just like to help people. So if helping people can fill your practice, that's pretty sweet. So that's around 1,500. Then we're going to talk about referrals. So this is where we can get quick hits to our income and to getting clients in the door. So working with referrals in a non-networking way, okay? You're going to get scripts, templates, and tutorials on how to network without networking, even if you are an introvert. So this is valued at $550. So here we go. We are at about 3,300. Don't freak out. No freaking out. Then nobody's paying for any ads. We're not going to pay for anything other than the intensive itself, unless you don't have a website and you want one. Getting found for free. I'm going to teach you SEO for therapists, which means you're not going to have to hire an SEO specialist who's going to do way more than you need and charge you thousands of dollars to do it. We don't have to be SEO gurus. You just need to know enough. Okay, moving on. Then we're going to make sure that you have your entire marketing implementation kit. So you're going to finish up over the course of 12 weeks. It's going to take a hot minute, right? We got to work together for a while because we're going to learn and we're going to implement and we're going to review and make sure that it's working. You're going to graduate with all of your marketing assets done out in the world, and we're going to have a calendar for you of when you need to follow up with referrals, when you might want to kind of like shake up your social media posts a little bit. We'll be able to set you free into the world, and you're going to know exactly what you need to do to maintain your progress. It's 12 weeks because I want to make sure that there's ease and spaciousness as we work together. Okay. So when we put all of these things together, we're coming up close to $7,000. But here's the reality, right? Like, that's sort of an arbitrary number. I'm just putting prices to things that I think are appropriate. The reality is that it's not about each module. It's about the effects of all of those modules coming together. It's about being debt-free. It's about having a savings safety net. It is about family vacations. It is about quality time with the people that you love. It's about planning for retirement instead of hoping that it's all going to work out. And it is about being of service without all of the self-sacrifice that we keep thinking we have to live in. So I want to ask you, I'm not going to charge you $7,000 so you can breathe. I'm not going to do that. But I want you to play for just a minute with me. Let's pretend that you had $7,000 sitting on your table right now. Would it be worth it for you? Would the intensive at the $7,000 be worth it for you if you could finally leave your agency job, the insurance panels, the fear of audits, the fear of clawbacks, the group practice taking 40% of your profit? Would that $7,000 investment be worth it for you if you could leave all of that behind, feeling secure, knowing you were going to make the income that you needed to make better, knowing you were going to make the income you want to make? Let me know in the chat. Give me a yes if it would be worth it. It's sitting right there. Would it be worth it to you? Absolutely. Absolutely, Rainey says. What about others? Would it be worth it to you? Let's do this, Melissa says. Would it be worth it to you? Oh my gosh, yay! Would it be worth it to you if you could serve your clients better and live more generously and free? What if you could be a way better therapist because you would have the energy and the time and the emotional reserves to serve your clients the way you want to serve them? Would it be worth it to you? Would it be worth that $7,000? Let me know. Would it be worth it to you? Now listen, this is a good one. If you could trust, yeah, yeah, I'm hearing you. Don't you worry. But it's a pretend $7,000 right now. It's a possibilitarian $7,000. If you could trust that you could get clients at will who fit perfectly into your ideal practice, would it be worth $7,000 to you? Let me know because it's important. I need to know. So I'm not going to charge $7,000 if you want to join me. Not going to happen. The total cost of the course is $2,000, $2,050. It's always hard for me to say that. Okay. You can get it cheaper if you want to. You can save $150 if you want to pay it in full. Doesn't matter to me, however you want to do it. And I want you to hear what other people are experiencing with just a little bit of marketing training. Audrey says full, over full, having a hard time making space for business development. So I raised my rates for new clients and stepping my low fee peeps up. And I do teach you a escalation plan in the course so that you can compassionately raise your rates respectfully for your clients. And I want to remind you of math. Because I know for therapists, $2,000 is no joke. That's a chunk of change. It is an investment. I want to remind you of that $60 an hour raise that you get just from leaving insurance and going private pay. I want to remind you that one client, if you think you could get one client from this intensive, it will more than pay for the intensive and make you profit. And that is even if you go for the upgrade, the one-on-one coaching with me. Just one freaking client. We have people who went through this training and got one client. So I have zero concern that you will get clients, that you will not get clients. Barbara says, I wanted to share that I met my financial goal for the year and it's only October. This is my first full year in private practice. It's just freaking incredible. Now, if you're like me and you like maybe a little bit more hand holding, then there is an upgrade offer for you. And this is just an additional coaching package. So remember we talked about in the marketing intensive, we meet Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's what the intensive is. If you want to upgrade to level up one-on-one coaching, you're still getting everything in the intensive. And it's kind of crazy, and I did steal the idea from some smart people. You are also going to get unlimited Voxer support. That's one-on-one coaching via a Voxer. It's like a little walkie-talkie app. So like, remember the Nextels? It's like that. You can walkie-talkie with me anytime, day or night. Leave me a message. I get back to you ASAP. Obviously, I'm going to have some personal boundaries, right? Like maybe not on the weekend, but probably. You know what I'm saying, right? So one-on-one coaching from me, and you get an asset review every month. So this is guaranteeing my eyes on your work. There are over 50 people already signed up for the marketing intensive. And so obviously in that 2-hour block where we're co-working together, I can't put my eyes on everybody's work. That's just, it's not going to be possible. But if you level up and you're going to have me coaching you, you're also going to have me reviewing your assets. So you just submit, let's say your web page, you want me to look that over and give you feedback. I'll do that via video for you and send it your way so you can incorporate that feedback right away. My coaches have saved me so much time and money because of offering that. It's saved my butt numerous times. So let me break this down for you, what it would look like. You do get the option to do payment plans. So if you do the marketing intensive, it's 6 payments of $342. Now pay attention because we're only meeting for 3 months, but you get to pay it off over 6. And you might notice the coaching is for the 12 weeks that you're in the program. You might notice that the level up, the more expensive option, is actually cheaper on the payment plan. And you might be wondering, why? Why is that the case? And it's because I broke it down for you over 12 months because I really want you to be able to get whichever one is more fitting for what you need. Okay. This is a course overview. I feel like we kind of went over it in detail, but I'll go back to this slide if it would be helpful for you. But I want to really get to this point. I know that for you, there's a risk in investing your time and money and energy and like crossing your fingers and hoping that the marketing works because I know you don't have a good experience with marketing yet. I am personally guaranteeing the program. So what that means is at the end of the 12 weeks, listen, at the end of the 12 weeks, if you feel like this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work for me, I've done all the work, it's not working for me, I will give you all of your money back. Just let that sit with you for a minute. I will reimburse you for the entire cost of the course curriculum. I can't reimburse you for the coaching because that's time I can't get back. But for the marketing intensive, I'll reimburse you every penny of it. You'll just submit to me your homework so that I know you actually did it, and I will give you your money back. Is that a big risk for me? Yes, it is. But I've worked with therapists for years now, and therapists don't screw people over. So I'm putting my trust in you because I know that you're really putting a lot of trust in me too. I want to make a little bit of a note here about the payment plans. This is not like a subscription service. You don't just opt out, right? So if you invest with me, I know that the course is 12 weeks, but you don't get to stop paying at the end of the 12 weeks. If I'm going to grant you the payment plan for the 12 months or the 6 months, then I am trusting in you that you'll continue to pay me. Again, I've worked with therapists for years, and therapists are good human beings. So I'm not worried about you taking advantage of me, but I am sharing it because I want you to know that I'm the one taking on the risk here because I want you to have success. I want to eliminate whatever barriers might be there for you in getting started. And I also want to put a little bit of a fire under your butt. So here's what we're going to do, my friends. I know it's hard to make a decision, and I know that we put off making the decisions. Yep, I do that a lot, unless it's an Amazon purchase. So what I'm going to do to get you excited and get you moving is I'm going to offer you a bonus for the next 24 hours. So if you purchase within the next 24 hours, not only will you get the marketing intensive, but you're also going to get the copy vault that I mentioned earlier, where I give to you all of the copy you will ever need for that bridge, that hard part to write about. So 24 hours, you have to purchase, and you will get that, but that's not all, right? I'm also, and those of you who already signed up don't even know about this yet. This is a new thing for you. Not only are you going to get the intensive and the copy vault, I'm also going to give you a quarterly planning session. So we'll meet for 3 months for the marketing intensive. And then 3 months later, we're going to meet again in a group workshop, and we're going to assess how things have been going, right? We're going to tweak what we need to tweak. and help you make the plan for the next quarter to maintain your progress. And that might be, I'm going to teach you my system for doing this. I do this every quarter for myself. It might be around marketing for you. It might be around a plan to leave your insurance company. It might be around a plan to leave a group practice. It doesn't matter what the plan is, because I'm going to teach you the framework for it, the system for it. So you might not know yet, is this for you or is this not for you? So I want to be clear. This is for you if you recognize that the path to freedom, financial security, and more flexibility is to learn how to market to at least some private pay clients. And it's for you if you're willing to do the short-term work for the long-term results. You will make time to market so you can enjoy freedom forevermore. You are a service-oriented, generous-spirited therapist. You want to do good in the world without sacrificing the good in your life. This is for you if these match up. If you're just like a little money hungry person, then you're not my people and you don't want to buy my course. Okay, this is not for you if, I think I missed a slide here, so I want to let you know if it's not for you. If you are in the stage of your practice where you don't have anything set up yet, and you need help to pick out what platform you want to use for video, email, what's HIPAA compliant, what's not, what your policies and procedures need to look like, what your paperwork needs to look like. If you're in that space and you need help to get through it, you can't just throw it together yourself, this isn't the thing for you. I want you to look at my step-by-step course instead. If you are the sort of person who are like, I can throw that together, no problem, jump into the marketing intensive. It is never too early to start marketing. If you are, I mentioned, if you're like greedy and like sleazy, I'm not your person. We're not going to work well together. So this is not for you. And lastly, if you are independently wealthy, all your bills are paid, your retirement is funded, and you just love writing, this is so bad. You love doing all the work for insurance companies and writing all the fancy pants stuff, not for you. Keep doing your thing. If you're happy, go for it. Go for it. Okay, so I want to answer some questions for you, and I also want to give you the link to sign up. Since it's a short window for you, I want to make sure that you have that handy if you want to sign up. And you can ask me questions about marketing right now, or you can ask me questions about the course, either one. If you were in Facebook land, I might have a hard time getting the link to you, so go to the YouTube channel. I will grab the link to that for you here. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. All right. No, I'm not going to be able to give you the link. All right, well, I'll do my best. I'll pop into the Facebook group after we're done. So talk to me about your questions. Chris is asking, how often is this offered? I will not be able to invest until later this year. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to offer it again until January 2023 is probably the earliest. So just because it takes so long to promote and then to also teach. So I just looked at my calendar about a week ago trying to figure out when I'd be able to do it again. So I think that that's going to be the next time. Just to be like totally transparent, this is the first running of the course. So what usually happens is that we give it a beta price. This is a lower price than it's ever going to be in the future. So I just want to be totally honest about that so that you'll know ahead of time. Nadine asks, what time and days does this happen for the actual course? We meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Tuesdays we meet for 50 minutes. Thursdays we meet for 2 hours minus 10 minutes, so you have time to, do what you need to do before your next therapy session. You know what I'm talking about. And it's all also going to be recorded for you. So if you're like, I'm not going to be able to make it 1 week, no big deal. Okay. Oh, thank you, Misty. I'm so glad you put this back in. So I asked Misty to drop a question that she asked earlier. She says, my biggest fear or obstacle is the relationships. Thanks for using my word. Zero network where I'm at right now, so I don't know where to start. Okay. So I will go into a lot of detail in the intensive. I'm going to try to condense it here. It doesn't matter where you are. You can always build a network. And you can build them close to where you are or across the world, doesn't matter. So we're going to use that low hanging fruit that we talked about of thinking about where are my clients physically, so I know who to start contacting. And what I would do is, I don't know if you even need to worry, unless you have a physical practice in your area, don't worry about where it is. I would Google um, zip codes and highest SEO and find out which zip codes around you have higher SEO. And then I would start looking for the collateral care providers in that area. And then I would Google stalk them. And I would try to find something on their website that I really resonated with, so that when I do call or email or send something in the mail, I can be like, I saw this on your website. It's like exactly what my clients talk about. And I wondered if you would have some time to talk about your practice so I could find out if it's a good fit for my clients. So that's how we're going to start to build that network. We can also use low hanging fruit, like if you have colleagues who know you well, then they can also be referral sources. You could also use university counseling centers if those are your peeps. So lots of ways to get started there. Okay, when does it start? It starts June 7th. So right around the freaking corner. Just enough time for you to be able to move some clients around so that you can come live if you want to. Um, Great question. I love it. Chris asks, are the recordings available for lifetime or limited time? Really good question. The recordings are available for life. So you can watch, you can rewatch. What's not available for life is when we do it and I am co-working with folks or teaching live. So like if I come up with new lessons and I'm teaching them live for a different cohort of people, you won't be able to attend live because I have to give the new cohort my attention, but you will get the recordings. So every time we add content to the course, you're going to get that content. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Where will it be in person? Where will it be in person? We're going to be all online. I'm probably misunderstanding. We're going to be in Zoom. I know I'm misunderstanding. Help me. Help me know what you're saying. Okay. What do I use to transcribe my videos into a blog post? There's a lot of software for this, but I use Teemi, Teemie, I think is the name. It's very inexpensive. So I like that. You could also, if you're feeling like, I don't want to spend any money, you can also use like dictation. You can play your video and have Word open, turn on dictation, and it will copy it. It's not going to be perfect, but it's not bad and it's free. Okay, if I'm missing questions, let me know. Okay, Jamie says, how often is it offered if I'm starting from scratch and want to do step-by-step first? So I can get you in a backdoor and step-by-step right now. And you would probably be set, let's see, where are we? We're in May. That would actually be great timing because I think we're going to start again in January. And the other cool thing for you, Jamie, is Step by Step has some marketing in it already. So you might do that marketing and be like, I don't need to pay for anything else. And that would be awesome. I'd be really happy for you. All right. Oh, my bad. Okay. Yeah, no in person. I just meant live, like you're watching it live. And then if you don't want to come live, I probably did say in person. If you don't want to come live or you can't come live, no big deal because we'll record it for you. All right, let me see what else we might be missing here. What other questions do you have? Okay, so this is a good one. I live in a city with a population of 34,000. Is it doable here? It doesn't. So unless you're not doing telehealth, where you live has no bearing at all in being able to fill your practice. If you have only a physical practice, then for sure that smaller population is a smaller group for us to pull from, and it can be more difficult to fill a private pay practice. So I just will be straight up with you. So what I'd want to do is look at the SCS in my area and think about, like, is this population going to be able to pay for the rates that I need based on data, not on guessing? And then I would really consider having a telehealth practice if this is going to limit your income so much. I would absolutely have a telehealth practice so I could market outside of my local area. And if you guys don't already know, you can get certified to practice in Florida. No, we are not saturated yet. We really need social workers here. So you can get certified to practice here in like 48 hours. It's super cheap. It's super easy. You can literally Google it and practice here. And there are a ton of people here who could pay your rate. Okay, let's see what else we got going on. Um, okay, question. Do you have any recommendations or resources, yours or otherwise, for creating the business itself? Yeah, I teach you step by step how to create your telehealth therapy practice in my course, aptly named Step by Step. So you can email me, Jamie, and I will get you the link for that. Let me put my email up here for you so you can get it easily. Florida is not oversaturated. It is not. That's a lie. I don't know why. I think the therapists in Florida are saying that because they don't like that therapists from other communities are getting credentialed here and like taking their clients. Okay. All right. Um your state licensure has a bearing on it. Can you say more about what you mean? And I don't know exactly what your name is because it's coming across as D band how. So let me know what you mean um, when you say that. One of the ways that you could tell if a place is oversaturated is if you look at the population density, and then you go to Psychology Today and you see pages after page after page after page after page after page after unending page of therapists, then you know that it might be oversaturated. But I'd also look at rates. So if people are being able, like in California, for example, people are being able to charge 225, 250, 300, 325. Well, that tells us something, right? If the market were saturated there, people wouldn't be able to be charging that rate. It would drive the rates down. And that's not the case. The same is true in Florida. You know, people are paying 185, 150, 200, 225. And of course, not everybody. 80% of therapists are doing insurance-based practices only. So I'm not talking about everybody here, but there's a big population and they're paying those prices. So we know that it's not oversaturated yet. All right. I was not quite following the question about your state licensure has a bearing on it, even online. I wasn't quite following that. All right. Other questions before we wrap up? Oh, okay, I got it, I got it. If you need the link to purchase the course, I just popped it into the chat. I'll also put it on the Facebook page and in YouTube. And we are going to be emailing, oh, it's in your email as well. What am I talking about? In the emails you got to show up here, it is in your PS. So 24 hours to make sure that you get those bonuses. They're gonna make a really big deal and making this a lot easier and less work for you. All right, we are 11 minutes over. You guys have hung out and hung on. I super appreciate it. If you have other questions, you can always email me. I am always happy to support you and let you know whatever I can to help you move your life forward. I have really strong convictions that therapists do so much good in the world. And the fact that I see so many of them scraping by just to survive is heartbreaking. So I know that it's easy to get burnt out when you're seeing client after client after client, and you're doing that so that you can pay your freaking bills. I would much rather you have longevity in your career and be able to help more people over a longer period of time because you put boundaries in place to really take care of you. So if there's anything that I can do to help you to do that, I am here for it. Okay, Deb says, I am licensed in the state of Alabama and can only practice there, even online, unless I have privileges in another state. Yeah, so the Florida is the only state right now that will offer that privilege without you getting licensed, but you have the privilege to practice here. So if you want to email me, I'm happy to tell you more about that. You're so very welcome. I really hope this was helpful for you. If you need to like go over the formula, Just go back and watch the video and take screen caps of it, and I wish you the very, very best of luck. Take good care.